What is up, fellow nerds, and welcome to Not Your Status Quo tonight. We're back for more anime. That's right. You asked for it. Well, maybe you did. Hopefully you did. But
They
we're
did.
here to finish reviewing more Lazarus. That's right. We've got two more episodes of Lazarus. This is a newer anime. It came out this year. In fact, I believe it is actually still ongoing, and we're slowly working our way up through the episodes. If you did not catch our last stream on Thursday, live stream, we were talking about episodes 1 and 2, and tonight we're here to talk about episodes 3 and 4. But before we get into all of that nerdy fun, gentlemen, that's Keith, Dave. How are you gentlemen doing?
Douglas, I am tremendous. Always a pleasure talking to you, gentlemen. We're back on Sunday nights. I don't know why I'm so excited for that, but it's good to be back on Sunday nights. It's always weird when we're on Mondays. I don't know why. So it's good to be back. Dave, how are you doing, sir?
I am fan freaking tastic. Played a gig last night with the band, not this band, well, my other bands. And then I got up today and I had to practice with two other bands. Well, basically the same band though, because they're the same members. Anyway, so I'm kind of wiped out, and I was so glad that I could watch these shows right before we came on tonight. Because if I had watched them like any earlier, I would have forgot it by now. So I can't wait to talk about it. How about you, Doug? How are you doing tonight?
Well, Dave, let me tell you, I got a bit of the sniffles. No,
Oh, what's
I don't. Why is this happening? We just start the stream, and all of a sudden, I am, just I don't know. I don't know if it's too dusty down here, whatever. But
Or
yeah,
it's Michigan because, I mean, the temperature
oh,
drops about 20 degrees a day.
that could be. Dude, what is going on with the temperature? So yesterday, I am glad that I got the mowing done when I did, because it was relatively cool yesterday. It was nice enough, get out there, get the yard work done. Today, I go outside. I was taking the trash out, and I'm just like, oh wow, it's like really hot all of a sudden. And I think the news said that it was like supposed to be rainy all weekend. So who knows? It's Michigan, man. Who can even tell anymore? But
85
yeah,
tomorrow?
on that, I'm doing outstanding. I've been looking forward to talking about this with you, gentlemen. I think my opinion, it finally started to pick up, so I can't wait to get into it.
And let's do that. Let's talk Lazarus. Episode 3, Long Way From Home, which for those of you playing the home game is a Whitesnake EP from 1979. And we
I love
got
that they're doing
Don't
this.
Stop Believin', which is, I'm kidding, it's Don't Stop the Dance, which is a Brian Ferry song. Since we know the every episode title is going to be a song or an album or something along those ways. But episode 3, the long way from home, the opening monologue is Chris. And the Lazarus team meets back up to discuss Skinner's digital face dilemma, with Elena stating that only 3 hackers are able to pull this off, including herself. And while she
Right.
constructs...
If we remember from the previous episodes, they've been trying to find this Dr. Skinner. If you may remember from our, discussing Lazarus before, this doctor released this super painkiller, and we're starting to learn a little bit more about it as episodes go on. I think I misunderstood what exactly it did in our previous live stream. Maybe lack of information, or maybe I just missed something in the first initial episodes. But now we're getting a little bit more info out of these that not only did it help relieve pain, but it kind of altered your brain chemical as well, and that's why a lot of people were attracted to taking it, because it didn't just take away physical pain; it was taking away a lot of trauma-related pain too. And that was something that I didn't realize. I misunderstood what this drug did. So now I understand why all of the people in the world were so quick to jump on it. And it's nice. I do actually appreciate these opening monologues that we're getting in the opening of the episodes, just to kind of give us a little bit more. It's backstory from the members of the Lazarus team, but it's also a little bit more world building.
Yeah, it's something that they used to do in The Last of Us, like we were saying. It can use that kind of thing to set up an episode. Like here, I'm going to set the mood, and this is what the rest of this story is going to be about. I like when they do stuff like that. It sets
Same.
it up.
Same.
As long as they don't give too much away and ruin things, which this is not doing it. I'm just saying you can mess up a good setup, but they're not
That
doing
is
it
true.
here.
Yes.
So, she constructs some bait for these hackers. Axel and Doug travel to find Claude Klein, the latter's university mentor, who had previously worked with Skinner. And Chris and Leland visit Skinner's house to search for possible clues under the guise of cleaners. Which that kid who sometimes little things bother me. I think with that, all of us, little things bother us about episodes. When he was just like, oh, well, we'll have to charge you or whatever, and it's going to be this big number on a cat. I mean, would any police officer fall for? I was like, they could have done better. Snuck in. They're like this ragtag team of, espionage,
And-
and they.
You hit the nail on the head too. Like he is literally a kid. If you look up the biographies that they've got for each of the characters, I think they list him as like 16 or 17. So yes, you're right. The police are kind of dumb. I'm assuming someone could give it a hand wave, saying, "Oh well, it's kind of an end of the world situation. Everybody's afraid, so people are going to be more off their game." But absolutely, I agree with you there. That can be
We lost in translation too because it was, it wasn't written in an American, even though it's portrayed in American
True.
society,
That is-
it wasn't written there.
That's true. Yeah, that is something that we mentioned in the previous two episodes. That one of the chief complaints that's been coming out about this show is that the localization hasn't been as accurate with this show. And I don't know if it's because they were in such a rush to get the dub out first. For those that don't know, this is actually airing originally. It's first airing on Toonami, on the Toonami block of Adult Swim, which is on Cartoon Network. And since that's American, they're trying to push this out with the English dub first.
Understandably.
Eh,
Well, because it's on Adult Swim. I'm not saying that's the
Yeah,
right way to
yeah.
go, yes. So Axel and Doug locate Klein, who is now homeless.
I'll do what?
You
Yeah,
did
that
it.
was you.
Who is now homeless, and he tells them a story about how Skinner once discussed baklava, telling him that his grandmother Belinda made the best ones and she lives in Istanbul, not Constantinople.
Nice.
They might be giants.
That is such a great song. Every time I see Istanbul anywhere, I break out in song. But I won't today.
Kind of makes me wonder why didn't they use that for the title of the episode?
I was shocked when they said that. I was like, wait a minute, what is this episode called?
It was
again?
right
I'm
there.
like, you failed this one,
Opportunity.
Lazarus. But they don't really get much out of him. They find out, there was a kind of a story he stood up for, the one guy when they were back in university because some guy told him that, people of his type will never get a Pulitzer or anything, blah, blah, blah. And this guy stood up for him after he punched him and stuff. It was, I don't know, very forced backstory, I thought, a little bit. Once again, they talked instead of showed it. And I was kind of like, okay, fine. I don't think they're doing the best job developing these characters
No.
as I would like, but that's fine.
And
And
especially with that character, the Doug guy, the narrator guy, and when you can't picture him doing what he said he was gonna, what he did there because he's so monotone, he's just so straight laced. You can't picture it. I need to see it.
especially
So-
he even said in that first episode when he kind of cornered a crazy jujitsu guy, crazy parkour guy. He was like, he was trying to bait him into a fight, and he was just like, you're not going to do it. I'm not getting in close combat with you. He seemed so absolutely calm, cool, and collected all the time. To find out he struck somebody for just words doesn't resonate very well. I'm like, that doesn't sound like the right character, but once again, we don't know enough about him too. I mean, it seems like they're developing the story and the mystery of Skinner, but they're not doing enough with each character. I feel like, at least.
So one thing that Dave, you brought up actually a good point of something that I wanted to mention. I looked up a little bit of info about these because I was curious about the same thing, the delivery of some of these lines. And it turns out the whole monotone way of speaking is intentional. They just don't explain that in the show, or at least they haven't to us yet. We could be behind, but apparently, the director, the creator of it, Shinichirō Watanabe, he wants these people to speak in a more detached, monotone style of voice to show what the drug did to them, like how it basically rewired their what do you call it?
Brain.
Their emotions. So it gives them this more sort of hold on, I've got it written down here. It was an intentional stylistic choice, hoping to create a specific atmosphere and evoke a certain feeling. He wanted to convey a sense of detachment, weariness, and emotional numbness. That was the word I was looking for. He wanted to convey this emotional numbness because that's what the drug was meant to do, was detach them from not only their physical trauma but their mental trauma.
Which would have been great, like Dave said. Show us
They
the stuff
should
in the
explain
past
it, like,
and
right?
see, like, let us see that change, what Hatna did to them. Because
Yeah.
it right now, I'm just kind of like, oh, everyone's just kind of, they seem.
I was
put in my
thinking the
notes.
same thing that Dave was. I'm just like, why are they all like this? I'm like, there's got to be, like, I don't know if it was at first I literally thought, okay, it's got to be the quickness of how fast they're turning out these, the dubs, which usually takes a lot longer for that to happen. Sometimes you'll see a new anime come out, and it'll be a good, 6 months to a year before you get the English dub. It does not usually happen that quick. So the fact that they're pushing that out before the subtitled version, that's what had me wondering, okay, was this intentional or not? Turns out it totally was. It's just, again, they're not really explaining that in the show.
You should explain that, because I'm watching it like going, okay, there's 26 days left until people start dropping dead, and everyone's just so, okay, cool, let's go to the next thing. I'm like, but actually, that makes a lot of sense. If Hatna, which we know numbed pain, but also, physically changed people, because they even said, kids took it because it could wipe away heartache and it could wipe away all this stuff. So it was definitely much more than just your average painkiller. But they're slow in getting that out and not showing us how it's changed people, because all we see is the people now. We haven't seen any flashbacks showing how anyone was prior to taking it. So it's tough to make that. Hearing that now, I'll probably watch it a little differently, but before I wasn't making that leap to, oh, they're all acting this way. I was just all like, this is an interesting choice. Everyone's just like a little too cool for school.
And Doug has to do research in order to find out that that's what they're trying to convey, and that's bad.
No, I shouldn't have had to do that. Exactly right.
100%. So the team regroups and they go to Istanbul, not Constantinople, to try to find her. And I love that they find a mob in the city. They're like, this is a really rough part of the city. There's no cameras or anything, and they're just walking, and all these gangs just come out ready to attack them, and they're like, run. And they're bouncing all around and jumping on rooftops. And it was so funny when that one girl was having a tea party. I'm like, okay, who falls through the roof onto her? And they didn't fall on top of her, but they fell when she's like, oh, the prince is coming, and all of a sudden he falls down in his little get up.
Oh, it's the prince.
Oh, they were in Baltimore? Is that what you're saying? Oh.
No, Istanbul, not Constantinople.
You said it was the unsafe part of the city, and the gangs just attack them.
Oh,
so they're in Baltimore.
I did not get that. Well done, sir.
No, they were in West Philadelphia, born and raised.
In the street.
Well,
but let's not get into Jay-Z. Oh my God. Will Smith raps. Yeah, I was thinking DJ Jazzy Jeff or whatever his name was. But it's kind of funny because I like when I thought 100% when they had him held down and they were about to cut his wrist off because they thought that band was something special, which it kind of is. We're finding out next episode it could do some additional things, and it's not just a bomb on their, or I'm sorry, a fire, a flamethrower on their wrist. But they're ready to cut off his hand to get it because they can't pull it off. And I'm like, okay, what's his name? Jiu-jitsu guy or parkour guy is going to come in and save him. But no, he's like, all we wanted was to try Belinda's amazing baklava. And they're like, oh, why didn't you say so?
Say so. Everybody, these are my brothers. Come on.
Yeah. I was like, okay,
well,
that's
it's
good.
just who we're happy to go see. All right.
So they end up meeting Belinda, and they sit down to enjoy some of her world-famous baklava.
I love how she's so handling. Oh, they're good boys. They're just,
Just a little overzealous.
right. They really like baklava.
I mean, can you blame them? And with Belinda telling them how she raised Skinner, what he was like in his childhood and the death of his parents, how she raised him. She hasn't had much contact with him since he became, a world-renowned neuroscientist. And under the assumption that Skinner would want to keep her safe, they find a hidden camera.
Yep.
And Axel is pretty much talking to him after that. And then, of course, Dr. 909 falls for Elena's digital bait, which she had set up earlier in the episode to try to find out which one of these other hackers was doing all this.
Right. Of course, the evil people also trade in cryptocurrency. That's to be understood, obviously. That's,
Yeah, just like everything they say, there's nothing there to back it up.
Yeah.
And then we get 26 days left.
I like how they have that moment where, before he finds the video camera, how they play that message from Dr. Skinner. And it's a shock to them because in their minds this whole time they're thinking this dude is evil, he's a psychopath, he made this drug to kill everybody, and then she plays this message and he's so sweet and he's like, I just want to let you know I'm gonna be there soon. I can't wait to have some of your baklava, grandma. You're the best. And he's just like he's coming off so sweet and kind and caring, and they're kind of all in shock. They're like, well, that's not what we expected at all. This is weird. You're showing us a bit of humanity, and that's not who this guy is.
Yeah, he's been built up to be this monster, and it's not.
Mm-hmm.
And I do have a little what's next on something I think is going to happen. That flower that the grandma has is going to be a part of the cure. Somehow is going to factor in. Because they made an effort of talking about it in this episode. And I was like, he has it at his grandmother's house because something she does or knows how to do is what's going to be able to generate this cure for Hypno.
That would make sense if it turned out that it was like literally right under their nose the whole time.
Yeah, it's going to be something.
Baklava.
Yeah, it's just going to be something simple that they really, with time, they would have figured out. It's going to be able to be mass produced, so everyone can be saved if they do happen to, beat the time clock. I don't think they will. I think people are going to start dying, and they'll eventually get to it, possibly. But I was like, okay, they made an effort to talk about this plant, which you get 22 minutes an episode. It's important, so I do think it's going to factor in some way, somehow, into the cure.
Now, am I misremembering? I could be confusing the two episodes. The pill that Christine finds, was that this episode or the next one?
Oh, that was this episode, yes.
Okay. I know it didn't really amount to anything, but I have a feeling that's going to be another. I don't have a what's next for it yet, but I'm assuming there was a reason why they showed it to us. Again, usually they don't make an effort to point something out. Again, like the flower, they don't make an effort to point something out unless it's going to lead to something down the road.
Didn't they say it didn't look like it had a 5 on it, right? It didn't look like the medicine.
Yeah, it didn't look like Hapna. And so that's
What
why
they
she
thought
said maybe it's an anti-Hepna or something. And then she
Yeah.
says, "Oh, yeah, right," and then put it in her pocket. So she's got it with her, but again, we don't, I don't know whatever happened to it after that point.
She hasn't had a chance to reveal it to the right people yet.
That's true. That's
Yep.
true.
Hasn't turned it in to be analyzed. And then we get episode 4, Don't Stop the Dance, with the opening monologue by Elena. And she is able to hack into Dr. 909's hidden wallet and discover that he's working with an investor named Sam Stevenson, who sold off all of his Hypno stock before Skinner's announcement. And if they wanted to make the atypical scumbag day trader, they did a tremendous job with this guy.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, they piled like every negative attribute they could on this dude. Okay, he's got a skeezy club. He does a lot of insider trading. He trades with cryptocurrency. He drugs drinks. He preys on underage girls. I mean, it's like what more I'm waiting for them to in the next episode. I'm waiting for them to reveal like an even longer list of. He did war crimes. What?
What's dude's name?
He stole from blind people. He kicked
Right.
dogs.
The DJ. What's his name?
DJ 909.
No,
that's
Dr. 909. Oh, hold on. It was
I thought that was the DJ.
no, the DJ was Visionary.
Like-
DJ Visionary.
Oh, Visionary, right. Oh my gosh, yes. That's right. DJ
Yeah.
Visionary.
I don't know if you've been. You probably haven't hit that part of the show yet, but yeah, liking him young.
Yeah.
Gross.
Yeah.
He wants to act like he's walking away, but he's not. Go
No.
ahead and get there, Keith.
Yeah, we basically with Sam being their only link to Dr. 909, they decide to infiltrate one of his exclusive club parties. And Elena continues to investigate the deposits made to the wallet as they originate from physical ATMs located around the world, and manages to discover that Dr. 909's true identity is the world-famous DJ Visionary. She kind of figures it out because she gets the cameras from all the ATMs and puts together that it's him. This is kind of happening while they're in the party. And like Dave said, they're going in and they dress up a kid in a girl's
Leland,
clothing
yes.
I was like, oh
He
man,
waits
they're
till
going.
they're almost there to suddenly be like, wait, why am I dressed like apparently no argument was had before this. They're just like, oh, and by the way, we're going to this club. Here's your dress and wig. Okay, great. Waits till they're like just about there, and he's like, wait a minute.
See, I took it as he was mad when they were doing it, and this is like his last ditch effort. Do I really have to do this, you guys? Come on.
I've
now.
come this far. Do
I
have
mean,
to
at
do
least
it?
they were upfront with him, like, hey, we may need to use you as bait. We don't know what kind of girl he's into.
Yeah. And it ends up that, both, well, Leland gets taken back and his girl guys, and she kind of jumps with him to go back there. And it's even worse than you imagine. He's like, oh, let's drink from the bowl, ladies. Drugs them all. They're passed out. And he's like, okay, you guys have whatever you want. I'm taking
And
this
it turns out this is something he does regularly. Super gross.
Good thing Chris takes a lot of drugs.
Yes.
Yeah, oh god. I'm realizing she's basically our stand-in for Black Widow. So when Axel mentioned in the previous episodes that hey, we're basically like the Avengers, everything that Christine is like saying essentially is like I think like didn't she like used to be a spy or something like that?
That's what she said,
Or-
yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what she said. So like, and now she's like, oh yeah, I've taken so many different drugs over the years. You're gonna need something much harder than that.
Yeah, this ain't doing nothing to me.
Right.
And then they end up faking those tattoos to get into the VIP area. Sam is getting his butt kicked left and right, which is great. DJ Visionary, aka Dr. 909, is trying to get away. Sam ends up joining him, and they try to take off in a helicopter. And we have him, jumping 30 yards. What's up, buddy? To kind of get onto the helicopter, and
Yeah, crazy Captain America stuff right there.
Oh yeah.
Well, it's the Avengers, so yeah, you're right. And he kind of jumps on it, and then Leland sends out one of his little drones from the car so he can kind of, after they knock him off. I do. When Sam was like, shake him off. Oh, that's not part of my program. Just do it. I mean, once again,
Yes,
he's like beating
he did
up.
it like twice.
Yeah.
He's beating on the helicopter. Like, okay, now hurt them. I will not do that.
That is not part of my program.
You will kick.
Yeah, and it's always the best idea to just start kicking technology when it doesn't
Right.
listen.
And then of course, when they crash, I told you. It's like, oh, great. So we've got snarky AI. Okay.
Well, Axel did kind of shoot it down. He puts the thing in, and they go down. And he's interrogating both men, saying, like, you better tell me everything you know, or, you're going to get drowned in this lake. Ha, ha, ha. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, we don't have any connection. We really don't know the guy or whatever. And so he just, see ya. But we find out later they were arrested, by the cops. But it is revealed that Dr. 909 uncovered Hapna's true nature after hacking a pharmaceutical company named Delta Medicinal or something. I can't remember.
Medicinal?
Proving they knew about Hapna's dangers while also suggesting they colluded with Skinner.
Oh, so did he like create his own sort of mini cult? Like how many other, like if he had this pharmaceutical industry or whatever like behind him, were they to the point where they knew what Hapna did but they didn't report it? How did he convince them to keep quiet?
Yeah, it sounds like what Delta figured out, and they did not say a word. So they were definitely colluding with him in some way.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they share his ideals. Like, oh yeah, you know what? You're right. The world is over, and we're gonna have to eliminate humanity.
And then to make the threat real on the 3-year thing, we see a monkey in a lab that suddenly drops dead. And I'm assuming, I think we can make this assumption that it was one of the first monkeys to kind of test Hapna to see what happens on everything.
Yeah. So I assume this is not going to lead into a Planet of the Apes situation.
You don't know that.
You damn dirty ape.
What have you done?
We don't know which way this is going, Doug. That could end up this way. You don't know.
The ones that weren't a part of the
All
trial.
the hell.
The ones that weren't part of the trial are going to take over as all the humans are dead. And then we get the notice at every episode, 24 days left.
Running out of time.
And see, I was going to complain about everybody's lack of urgency on this. But now, with Doug's research, it kind of makes a little more sense. It's the Hapna that kind of affected them, that they're all just kind of like, okay, cool, let's do what we can do.
I'm
Yada,
waiting
yada.
to find out if they ever actually explain this. I feel like they should have, like in one of the earlier like episode 1 or 2, like they should have made it clear that this is the way the world is and this is why it's the way it is. This is why everybody is so because I was thinking when I was watching these episodes, there was something that came out on Netflix a couple of years ago called I think it was like Beth and the End of the World or something like that. I don't remember the character's name, but it was essentially this show was about this comet was going to hit Earth. Nobody could do anything about it. Everybody had just kind of accepted it. And so it was showing how everybody was living with, only a couple of months before this comet hits Earth. And how different people were dealing with it in different ways. Some people were, on a forever cruise. Other people were, doing whatever. And this girl decided that she needed structure and got a job.
That is not what I would do if I had a couple months
Right.
to live.
And so, like, I was thinking at first, I'm like, oh, well, maybe everyone is just kind of like, well, we're all going to die, whatever, and we're accepting it. But then, I was thinking, like, Dave, I'm like, yeah, but this just seems really weird. Like, even this team that they clearly haven't given up, they're fighting to, what are they worried about? Their wrist is going to get hot. They don't have bombs implanted, so they're not exactly like Suicide Squad. There's no real super threat hanging over them other than the threat of Hopna, killing them. So what is motivating them? Okay, they are motivated. They just don't sound like it because. But again, not explained.
Yeah,
That's
is
the
I
there
shouldn't have had to
anybody
Google
out
search
there?
that.
Is there anybody out there at all who has not taken Hotline?
It
You know,
seems they're implying so far that literally everybody in the world has, I guess.
I
Well,
would
everywhere in
wonder
the world has taken someone from everywhere in the world, but I bet we're going to find out that there are people, because there's people who don't refuse to take any kind of drugs. So there
That's
will
true.
be some people who didn't, and maybe there's going to be people that Skinner explained from the start, and maybe not just with that Delta pharmaceutical company, but others, where he said, "Don't take it. Whatever you do, don't take it." And they were like, "Okay, I'm not going to take it." So I think there'll be people who will survive all of this, and people who didn't take it, and maybe they'll hit on that a little bit because this is 13 episodes long, and so far they have done a good job of having these little mysteries when they go and it doesn't really tie in, but there's a little clue here, and we're going to hit on that. So they're not just found them, second episode. So I don't know how long they're going to be trying to find them. Eventually, going to find them, and I think a lot more details are going to be explained, which they probably should have given a lot of them earlier on in the series, so we're not all like, why is everyone so lackadaisical? Is this California? What's going on here? But should we rate these episodes, gentlemen?
I think we should.
yeah.
Who wants to go
Okay,
first?
I'll go.
Okay.
And again, in these episodes, I don't know if you agree anymore after watching a little bit of the show, Doug, but I still love the animation. I
Yes.
think it's
It
it's
did
really
appear
cool.
much better in these two episodes.
Yeah, it seemed very smooth, and they did definitely put in some time on it. I love the
Hmm.
music. The music, it just reminds me of Cowboy Bebop,
Yeah.
and it's very engaging. It brings you into the show. It's not
Um,
like you hear it and you're like that's out of place. That it just fits. As far as the other plot holes we discussed, there's the moments where you sit back and just okay, whatever, this is gonna be fine. But that does take me out of it a little bit. I did have in both episodes telephone moments, and actually the second episode I had to go back and rewatch the last 3 or 4 minutes because I zoned out and fell asleep. And I woke up 4 minutes later. I was like, oh, I just missed the last 4 minutes of the show. So I had to go back and watch it. So, but I'm normally pretty harsh on these. And actually, you both rated it under lower than I did last time. But I don't think it's really a bad show at the same time. Yeah, last week I gave it a 7.5, but I think I might have overrated it. But I don't hate this show. I like it. It's just it needs to pick it up. It needs to start putting the plot points into the show without just telling me about them.
Yes.
So I'm gonna give these two episodes a 5.5.
Yeah,
Who's next?
I can go next. You're right, Dave. Love the animation, love the music, and actually, Doug's little research probably is going to make me enjoy it a little bit more because I do enjoy the show. I know my rating wasn't great last week, but it's only because I wasn't getting into it, and my biggest struggle with this, I don't care about any of the characters. They've done nothing to make me be like, oh man, I really want to root for them or I want to do this. I'm all just like, okay, this is the girl in the chair, as Dave put last week. Oh,
Yeah.
this is, parkour guy. This is the kid. This is the Black Widow. I'm like, but I don't care about any of them in any way.
And notice how you're not remembering their names. You have to call
Yeah.
them by like their one key attribute.
Exactly. I have their names written down, and then I forget. I'm like, wait, which one is that
Right?
again? I just put little. Next week I'm gonna put little notes. Leland, kid, or whatever.
Kid,
But
right.
they if they would have done a better job explaining little things up front, getting me invested in the characters, which they have not in any way. I feel totally disassociated from all of them. I'm interested in finding Skinner, and I'm interested in why he did what he did. I think there's some good points here, but I think overall they're just failing to make me care about the main characters in the show. And I think that's the biggest problem I have with it right now. But that being said, I still like it. And I had no phone moments. Like when I watch a show, I'm still like watching it. I'm like, okay, what's going on? Oh, is that something interesting? Maybe I should write a little note to myself here. I mean, it's good, but it's not Cowboy Bebop good, where it's like you love the characters, everything seems great. I'm just totally invested. I hope they can make that jump in the next couple episodes, but I still think they've really missed the ball by not getting us more invested with these characters prior. And so for that reason, I am going to give these 2 episodes a 5. They're good. They could be so much better though, and I think they're really missing a chance to make a great show out of this, and I hope that changes.
I am with the both of you. I am gonna rate this one a bit higher than I did last time, only because the music really caught my ears, especially in episode 4. As they're heading to the club, you hear that little jazzy beat, and it kind of, it rung the little, oh, yes, okay, thank you. It reminds me of Cowboy Bebop. And to me, the animation was much better. And I'm not saying that I've just gotten used to it. I mean, it was legitimately better. If you compare the first 2 episodes where they show the cityscape that Axel, sorry, couldn't remember his name for a second there. Sorry, they're not characters, so they're just they're this one trait. So
They're archetypes.
parkour guy
Yeah.
is hopping through this city that it didn't look finished. It looked like the CG was like part way there, but maybe somebody told them we don't have the time, we don't have the money, just it's good where it is. And so it did bother me in the first 2 episodes, but this one it felt more complete. Like as we're in Istanbul, not Constantinople, it looks all complete. It looks all drawn. It looks everything fits together. And I'm still loving the character art. Even though their voices aren't expressive, the animation on, their body movements, their face is expressive. So weird, but yeah, so I'm going to give this a 6 out of 10. My reasons being that while I did not care much for episode 3, it felt very much like a filler episode. It felt like it was there. It didn't go much of anywhere. Like, I guess the only thing that came out of it was them discovering Dr. 909, but that was pretty much it. The rest of the episode was kind of character development, but barely.
Well, and it's funny because
And
you say
the
them finding Dr. 909, but them finding him was like one little scene where she's like, I'm laying a
like,
trap.
towards the end.
And then the end, she's like, I got him. It's like,
Yeah.
cool.
But otherwise, like nothing really happened. Where most of the stuff that actually took off was in episode 4. When okay, now we found these people, and even then, so they find these people. They go to the club. They've got this whole mission, and that also kind of amounts to nothing. And I understand that. Yes, in the real world, if something like this were happening, yeah, you're not going to immediately find the guy. There's going to be a lot of, false starts. But it feels like this is almost an excuse because they're trying to drag the story out. That every one of these episodes is just going to be another, okay, we think we got something. Oh, nope, we're back to the square one again. And, we don't have 29 episodes. So clearly there's going to be a couple of skips as we're going through these. And they are going to get, I mean, unless maybe there's going to be a season 2 or something. I really don't know. I'm not sure what the plan is because normally the creator of this, as we discussed when we were reviewing Cowboy Bebop, which you should totally watch. You can find it on our YouTube channel. As we discussed, he was pretty much he had a one and done story, right? He wanted to tell a story they wanted to tell, and then that was it. He didn't want to do a sequel. So I can't imagine that he would suddenly change with this one. If he did, it's going to be weird. So I don't know. I hope they start picking up. I hope they resolve some of these issues because I mean, even the opening monologue in episode 4 was dumb and pointless. It was just computer hacker girl, what's her name?
Elena.
Elena, basically saying, "Yes, we took Hapna because we were super bored." Oh, okay. Like at least Christine was, in her monologue in episode 3, she's like, "It's hard to deal with heartbreak sometimes. Sometimes you don't know what you're going to do. It hurts all the time. And if you can find some way to numb the pain, then you got to do what you got to do." And while, obviously I regret now having taken this thing that's going to end my life, at the time it seemed like the right thing to do. And it's like, oh yeah, I get it. All right. So now we're learning a bit more about um, a little bit more than a Black Widow character, not much, but at least now we have something. We've got a little bit of depth to your character. And then we've got Elena kind of taking us a step back. "I'm 16 and I was bored." Cool. Thanks,
Great.
I guess.
So deep.
And then, yeah, what?
It's so deep.
I know it's so deep. It's like
No other
oh,
16-year-old has ever been bored before.
so
Totally new
I wasn't
feelings.
allowed to take the drugs, so I found them on the black market. Cool, I guess. And then it reminded me like, wait a minute, why does that sound so familiar? Oh, that's literally the same story as Drone Kid. He he took the drug, he took Opera for the same reason. Yeah, I'm a kid and I was bored. Okay, you couldn't come up with a new creative story. She doesn't. No, Elena doesn't get her own story. She just has to borrow his, apparently. But whatever. I guess the other thing that bothered me is I shouldn't have had to look up why everyone spoke the way they did. I was gonna chalk it up at first too. All right, well this is just a rush, and I'm like, it just seems so weird. It doesn't fit. And had I not looked that up, then yeah, I'd be thinking the same, in the same line as all of you guys that, oh, it was just a weird directorial choice, and no, apparently this is on purpose. Don't
There's a
know
valid
why, but
reason for it, and they've just never explained
there
it to
is.
anybody.
They just haven't told us. They haven't really explained it, and like I totally misunderstood the way Hopna even worked. I don't know if you gentlemen did as well, but I was under the assumption they're taking Super Advil, I guess. I don't know. I'm like, all right, taking a highly addictive painkiller. So what? No big deal.
It's not
But
addictive. It's not happy.
yeah, that's
for
the
me.
other thing. It's not
No
addictive.
side
That's
effects. No side effects.
yeah. But yeah.
Non-addictive.
I did feel like out of the 2 episodes that we reviewed, I think episode 4 was the better of the two. It felt like more was accomplished. It felt like like it was worth it what we were doing. Yeah, it's still in the end, it amounted to nothing. Again, we're still back at square one, but it felt more substantive than episode 3 did. But yeah, that's why I'm giving it a 6 out of 10. There was some good music. The animation looked much better, but they've got to fix these plot holes, number one, and they've got to do a lot better about, expanding on these characters. Make us care. Like what Keith said, you got to make us care about these people because right now they are their one, little attribute. They are parkour, Black Widow, drone boy, smart guy, and hacker girl.
Yep.
That's it. That's what we got. So I don't know. I hope it gets better.
It could be, I keep thinking while I'm watching this, it could be one of these shows where we're like, just keep watching it through episode 6.
Right.
And then it'll pick up and you'll get it. You shouldn't have to do that.
You shouldn't have to do that.
I keep feeling like that's going to happen. I'm like, this is going to get good. And it's going to be one of those shows where so many people tune out because the first, so far, 4 have been average to above average, just barely. And that's no way to start a show. I know the guy can hook us in right away because he definitely did it with Cowboy Bebop for me.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see what happens. But
The first episode of Cowboy Bebop was way better than this first episode.
oh yeah, 100%.
It hooks you like immediately. I just about shed a tear in that first episode because of how good it was.
Well, at the end of this series, they're gonna be all turned into Cronenbergs. That's how it's gonna end. They're gonna
Is that your what's next?
Yes, that's my what's next.
All right.
We really Cronenberg this world up, didn't we? That's what it's gonna be.
Oh boy.
Now,
Oh, go ahead.
go ahead, Dave.
No, it was off topic. I'll wait.
Well, this is off topic. This is a new topic. So tell us what you said.
Oh, I was just gonna say, hey, Doug, you got another link for me for the Rick and Morty?
Not yet. It's coming out tonight.
Comes out tonight. Great. Thank you.
Okay. Now, are you guys ready for a little more Fantastic Four's first steps? Info?
Oh, we got more?
A little bit. So
Okay.
the cast was at CCXP Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
And Jonathan Quinn let it slip that the Mole Man is 100% in this movie. So even though a lot of people have speculated about it, he's in there.
Now we actually have real clarification,
He,
or real, what's the word? Confirmation.
Confirmation. He probably shouldn't have said it, but he did. So, hey, we know Mole Man is now in it. But they also...
Add him to the group of MCU actors that can't keep their mouth shut.
Yes, he's the new Tom Holland. The new Mark Ruffalo. The new... I still laugh every time I see the interview with Tom Holland's like, they told me it was a wedding for Tony Stark's funeral.
Yeah, of course we told you that.
Yeah. But they also showed a scene from the movie. Sue Storm is going into labor on the Fantastic Four spaceship while Silver Surfer is chasing after them, trying to capture Franklin. So it sounds like all of these early reports that Galactus didn't necessarily come to devour Earth, but more get Franklin Richards, who can create universes, to create his old universe again, which was a storyline at one point in the Fantastic Four. So that definitely sounds, if this scene description is accurate, it does sound like that's what is going to happen. And Johnny takes over the ship's cannons, and he's trying to blast the Silver Surfer, making jokes about her being sexy. So at least they got Johnny.
Yeah, that sounds like a Johnny Storm move.
And then it ends with Reed telling Ben to take them into a black hole.
And that's going to take them
they
into the
end up in
MCU.
626 or 616. I'm sorry. That's how they end up in 616.
Which, could be them showing up in the Thunderbolts post-credit scene, which...
Now, did you say the Silver Surfer was there for Reed Richards, or Galactus was?
No, Silver Surfer was chasing them,
Okay.
trying to get Franklin, not Reed. They could care less about Reed. Franklin's mutant power, he can just create entire universes and just create things. And so Galactus wants him to create his old universe again and use his powers to do so.
Oh, Galactus
in the
wants
comics.
that.
In the comics, and that's what a lot of people said this was going to be about. So, but it definitely sounds like it's going that way.
So I have not read that comic. What, did just Galactus miss his homeworld, or did he want this universe so he could eat that too?
No, he didn't want to eat it. He wanted to go back to his old life because Galactus was the last surviving entity from the old universe before the Big Bang.
Okay.
And he doesn't want to devour planets. He doesn't want to have the endless hunger. He wants to go back to how things was. And he sees Franklin as the means to do so.
I do hope they do that.
Definitely not an NPC.
No. I do hope they do that, because one of the things that, and I know we've talked about this endlessly, but for those of us that haven't, heard this broken record, Thanos is one of my favorite MCU villains because they added depth to him. And I think it was a right idea. I know a lot of people didn't like it, but I think it was a better idea to have him want this goal of, originally have this goal of wanting to, in his mind, help the entire universe by cutting out all half of life for, like food shortages and stuff like that. Whereas, in the comic, he's just trying to impress death. And I am kind of glad that they changed that story from the comics, because that's just doing it to hit on death is a very comic booky thing. And I don't think the MCU was there yet.
It's a little too
took them a little
comic
while,
booky for movies.
Yes. Yeah, it
Yeah.
definitely because if you think about it, like it wasn't until, WandaVision and the shows and everything where they're finally starting to embrace some of the goofiness. And I don't know that if they would have said, "Okay, here's Thanos, the big bad villain," and as he puts his hand in the glove, "Fine, I'll do it myself." And then you see Death, "Hey, babe." And so, like I
Hey,
cannot imagine that working in the movies.
let me just say though, with Aubrey Plaza being Death, I think a lot of people can make
Yes.
that jump.
Now, yes.
Yes.
Yes. Obviously, they didn't have her for that role back then, but now that she is the canonical MCU Death, yes, now I could see that. But yeah, I do hope that you're right. I hope that I hope this rumor, I guess, confirmed or otherwise, is correct. I
It
do hope that they
sounds like it's
give
been
more.
confirmed, yes.
Good. I hope they give Galactus more depth other than I hunger and I want to eat. Because the minute you said that he wants this universe created, I'm thinking, oh, let me guess. There's going to be a ticking time bomb or a clock ticking where he's like, create this universe or I'm going to eat Earth. Which they may still do, but I don't know.
Well,
I would like to see.
if Franklin's a baby, he'd probably Gaga
Right.
create my universe or I eat your planet. Tacos.
He gets it.
Taco.
Good. All right. You understand, right, little man? Okay, great.
There was some game. I
Okay,
can't, it was
so
some. Oh my god, what was that Superhero Squad? Do you guys remember that cartoon? You probably don't because you don't have kids my age. But it was like it was like Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends on Disney right now. It's like a kid show, and this was like all of the superheroes. It was called Superhero Squad, and they made a game.
okay.
And on the level where you fight Galactus, you throw tacos at him until he overeats. And of course, so my son knew who Galactus was.
Oh,
And
okay.
he probably thinks, oh, they're going to feed him tacos in the movie.
As long as Deadpool's there.
Yeah.
Chimichangas.
Chimichangas, yes.
Right. Oh, that's funny.
And then the final little piece on the Fantastic Four First Steps. And we kind of talked a little bit about this, but this is blown completely out of proportion on Twitter. I know, shocking to everybody. So there was a screening of Fantastic Four First Steps. And someone said that someone stood up at the end and yelled it was mid, and everybody agreed, and it was a terrible screening, and this movie's going to bomb and stuff. So the person who was at the screening, supposedly, once again, we don't know, but he posted, I was at the screening. He said there was one person that said it was mid. He didn't yell. He said most of the people walking out, because they have to rate it, like when they're leaving, they say, what'd you think of the movie? And he said most of the people were saying excellent, which is the highest rating you can give it, and all this stuff. And then other people are like, oh, this is a fake account. And I heard that everyone was yelling mid. It was so amusing to me to see all of these scoopers and everybody like going back and forth. It feels like there's so many people that want the MCU to fail that they're like any negative story they can believe. And I mean, they could be right. Don't get me wrong. I'm not here telling you it's an excellent movie, but it's funny that
We are not paid by Disney.
That's right. But we're willing to be Disney if you want us to.
Yeah.
But we're willing to.
With our huge following that we can influence, we would gladly accept your chump change.
We would love to do it, yes. But it's just funny to me that, a test screening, I've never cared about test screenings, and I hate, and I think we talked about this last week, the fact that movies bring in random people and say, how can we fix this? You don't know who these people are. They could all love, Batman
Bridges
versus
of Madison
Superman.
County.
Oh yeah, they could like they could like terrible movies and stuff. I really just think they gotta stop worrying about test audiences and just let the creators make the movie they want to make. If it's good, people will flock to it and watch it and enjoy it.
If you build it, he will come.
But I do think a lot of this is because there was a test screening for Superman too, and of course there was people saying everyone loved it, and then there's other people saying it was panned and they're making major changes. But James Gunn has said the locked in movie is they're going to have everything done Friday and it's locked in. which makes me think that if there was a test screening for Superman, there wasn't a lot of negative things because Warner Brothers would not let them lock in a movie thinking they could improve it in some way. But once again, I understand. I can kind of understand why both of these excuse me, test screenings could have happened. One, the MCU has not been making as much money as previously.
No.
Both Thunderbolts, which I really enjoyed, underperformed. Captain America Brave New World, which was better than average but not great, struggled at the box office. The Marvel struggled at the box office. You know, Deadpool and Wolverine, of course, did great. But I see Disney execs saying, we got to make sure we have a hit on here. You know, we need this to be a hit. Send it to a test screening. And I also see with Superman, you know, them being like, this is the first movie in the DCU. We got to make sure it's a hit. You know, we got to make sure it's good. And I wonder if we're going to see it toned down a little bit from what James Gunn usually does because of that fact.
Possibly. You know, one thing that I have been worried about, and this boils down to conversation that I had during one of our, not our last stream, but the one before that, where I was kind of going on a bit of a rant about how streaming works. And one thing that I have noticed is that so much nowadays is put on the pilot episode that if it doesn't do buku bucks, like if it doesn't get amazing amount of viewers, then it's basically dead on arrival. If the very first episode doesn't pull everybody in and be, you know, a Breaking Bad style show, then the network loses hope in it and it might not get renewed. And like one of my chief complaints has been like how long sometimes we've got these short seasons, anywhere from maybe 8 to 10 episodes. And sometimes it'll be, you know, a year or more before we get another season because everybody's kind of like, is it going to get renewed? Who knows? What did it get enough viewers? And a lot of times, like if you look back at shows in the late 90s, early 2000s, it wasn't like that. You know, a lot of times the first couple of episodes, even the first season, might not have been the greatest. I look at Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Would you recommend the first season to anybody? Like trying to tell them, look, you got to watch Clone.
I think I've told this story
start with the first
before.
season.
I stopped watching the Clone Wars in the first season. It was my brother, who he had small boys at the time watching it. One day I was talking to him, he's like, start watching it again. You can thank me later. And I was like, okay. And I started watching it, and I was like, okay, they definitely, you know, the rest of season one, I was kind of like, but then it really starts picking up. So,
Right, yeah.
You're absolutely right, Doug.
Absolutely.
I mean, Keith, you and I encountered that with Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
That very first episode, not great. It was not a good representation of what the series overall would be. And I was kind of turned off from it, like, almost immediately. I watched that first episode. I messaged these two guys, and I'm like, yeah, this ain't gonna do. I don't think we even need to bother reviewing this for the channel. This is a terrible show. It's god-awful. Keith watched it. Nope, don't want. This is bad. And we kind of gave up on it almost immediately. And I do feel bad that I kind of fell into that same sort of mindset that streaming kind of puts you in. It makes you believe that if you aren't immediately pulled in, there's just, it's pointless.
And there's so many choices and so many options.
Yes.
A lot of people think that way now, too.
And I remember telling you guys that going back to, you know, anime, one of the things that I noticed when I first started getting back into anime again, because I watched some when I was younger, but you know, I would watch every now and again. I would catch like a Dragon Ball Z or a Pokemon or something like that, and it was fine, you know, but they weren't. It wasn't nearly as deep as like what it can get. But those most anime, like, first seasons, back then, the entire first season is usually pretty terrible. The first episode especially, because especially with animation, like, they're trying to, like, get on their toes, trying to figure out, okay, what's going to work, what doesn't, we need to develop these characters. And that can definitely be said, I think, even of Lazarus, this show that we're reviewing now, is it's got some work to do. There's this one anime that I really, really like, and it's a little too long, I think, at this point. I don't know that we would be able to review it for this channel unless we did it in chunks of like seasons. But it's called I Was Reincarnated as a Slime. Excellent anime. But it's very slow paced. And if you want to like suggest it to someone like in order to get hooked on it, I would almost suggest you've got to watch the first 4 episodes before anything consequential happens. Because like this main character, he spends so much time in one place just monologuing over the course of several episodes. That's not going to hook anybody. But it's important for development, to explain the world, explain this character. Lazarus, I think, is going to, take a little bit of time. Movies don't always have that opportunity. So, like, we're talking about the DC universe. This is its starting point with Superman. They're following the same kind of logic as streaming now, where we've got this brand new universe, because that's how movies work now. Everything has to be a universe. We've got the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We've got the DC Cinematic Universe. We had, who was it? Was it Sony trying to make their monster universe, or who was it? Universal.
Yeah,
Universal trying to bring back their monster universe. So you've got everybody trying to make a universe, and if the first movie doesn't take off, well then, may as well cancel all plans. It's not going to happen.
I was really excited about Rebel Moon.
Yeah, I bet you were.
I don't know if you guys saw the news. To the surprise of no one, Rebel Moon is dead at Netflix.
Oh no, what a shame.
I'll never see part 3.
Oh no. I see all the Cyberbots constantly on social media complaining about, oh yeah, Superman's terrible. Oh yeah, I have a friend of a cousin of an uncle that went to the screening. They said it's terrible and Diaper Man isn't the real Superman. Okay, buddy. So yeah, I can see that the studio is going to be putting pressure on James Gunn. This has to do good. This has to work. If we don't have butts in seats at the theater, then you're done. And this whole universe is done.
And what gives me hope, too, with the whole DCU is Creature Commandos was renewed early.
Yes.
So I never saw... it was very good. I enjoyed it. Never saw any ratings on it. I have no idea. Not all streaming services release their ratings all the time. I have no idea how good it did ratings-wise, but it was an excellent show. And I honestly... everything James Gunn he writes, I enjoy. He has a nice. He's very, very good at putting things together and having you enjoy and care and all the things you need to do. So
yeah, he makes it relatable to anybody. You're watching the Guardians of the Galaxy out in space, but you can relate to each one of them.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
that's what makes you like it.
He's good at making likable characters, even not good guys.
Yep.
Like the Guardians. None of them are really good guys, but you still like them. You go to like them.
Well, it's funny because the first 3 projects are all going to be written by James Gunn in the DCU: Creature Commandos, Superman, and Peacemaker Season 2.
Right.
Then we're going to get Lanterns, which is not written by him. Damon Lindelof, a few other people, but everyone has said it's a really good script. And then Supergirl with Anna Nortega, who wrote it, who I guess everyone is saying the script is fantastic, and people who are on set are saying everyone is in for a treat with this movie. Once again, I hope that's true. You kind of take it with a grain of salt because, people will say anything. But I'm hopeful. And, I mean, they loved the Supergirl script so much. This Anna Nortega is writing the Teen Titans movie now.
Really?
Yes. So...
well, let's hope that it's as good as Titans was on DC God. Universe. I mean, that was a failed screen.
How do I turn Doug off? How do I turn him off?
Mute Doug. Mute, where is it?
Oh, man. Talk about a great first season, am I right?
The way they rushed through 47 arcs from the comics in 6 episodes, I was blown away.
The way that that they completely just like skipped past Jason's death and brought him back like that. I mean, because the Titans can't stand on their own.
And it really, no mystery about who this new Red Hood was, who knew everything about Batman's, plans and everything else. It was just, hey, it's Jason. We brought him back to life. He died? Oh yeah, last episode. Don't worry about it. He's the Red Hood now. Let's carry on.
What? Well, I mean, did you dedicate an entire episode to him? No. It was like the very beginning of it. It was a flashback, and it was like we didn't really show much on screen.
Listen, we go by the Dark Phoenix saga in movies principle. We are not wasting time on
We
character
don't
development
have time.
or stuff we don't care about.
We have to input this weird bullshit story about aliens. What?
Yes. Why? We have to. Sorry. Okay, I got some more news for you guys. Are you ready?
Well, before you give us more news, I just do have one more thing. So while I am like you, Keith, I am very hopeful for the DC universe. I have a lot of faith in James Gunn. I am slightly concerned about the MCU. I am concerned because I see how quick Disney is to freak out. Y'all remember when we were supposed to get an Obi-Wan movie, and we were supposed to get, a movie about, like, what is it, Rogue Squadron or whatever? We're supposed to get all these side story movies from the MCU, or from Star Wars and everything like that. But the minute Solo didn't do as well as they had hoped, boom, instantly canceled. They were so afraid that they're like, nope, we're not doing any more of these anymore. And, like, you'd think they'd be like, okay, Rogue One was good, Solo was bad, let's go ahead and get... But no, they were scared away from it.
No, you're right.
And I'm so afraid that they're going to be scared off of continuing the current MCU to the point where either they're going to feel they need to reset the whole thing, or, and I really hope this doesn't happen, they're going to do what Marvel Comics did years ago and start selling off properties again.
I please see. You know what I'm worried about? If they reboot, I'm like, okay, I would rather see the mutant saga. But if they reboot and everyone's there together from the start, okay, I'm okay with that. That's not my top choice. I'm worried about them being, oh my God, we had to bring Robert Downey Jr. back. Chris Evans came back for Doomsday and Secret Wars. We need those guys to move on, and that's just not true. You don't need to introduce 80 new characters in like phase 4 and phase 5 and expect us to love them all and want to see more of them. You know what? They didn't introduce too many characters in phase 1, 2, and 3.
You can
slowly brought them in and let us enjoy them and develop them and stuff. And, they really went to, and I think this had a lot to do with Bob Chapek and his, we need to have, 1 million MCU shows on at a time on Disney Plus.
Yeah,
just
not the way
throw a ton out. We need everything. And it does sound like they're kind of veering towards slowing all that down. We know they canceled, but they didn't cancel any movies that we know of yet, but they moved some release dates off their block for Marvel movies. We know they delayed Doomsday and Secret Wars. We know Spider-Man 3 is coming. We don't know much else. We hear that we're going to hear some stuff at SDCC and D23 about their future plans. But it sounds like even with Disney Plus, they're not just going to keep producing a bunch of one-off shows just to introduce characters. They're going to start going more the season model where Daredevil Born Again, we're getting season 2, and they want to introduce shows like that get multiple seasons so they can build on them. So it sounds like they think that the problem is the same as I think it is.
Hopefully they've got a plan.
And they capitalize.
I did read earlier this week, Bob Iger did say he was disappointed in the amount of material that's coming out. He wants more, which contradicts what he said, like what you're talking about, because he did say that quality over quantity when he came back, and now he's complaining. I think it was a Variety article where he said he was disappointed in the material that's coming out, not the quality of it, but he wants more. Now that he's contradicting himself.
Yeah.
Do you think that's because the subscriber numbers aren't as high in Disney Plus?
Probably. I mean, I think that has a lot to do with it. They may, Disney may even start getting away from streaming a little bit. Like, all we know Star Wars wise for shows coming out is the Darth Maul show. We haven't heard anything about it. Or Ahsoka season 2 also, sorry.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll hear about it. Even Disney Plus, all we know that's coming out that we, besides Wonder Man coming out in December, is Daredevil Born Again season 2. So Wonder Man's going to save the MCU, and then we'll get. But we don't know anything else. So I really hope they're pulling back and saying, okay, we don't need 7,000 characters.
From my view, it's just like they're pumping so much money into these shows and these movies, and they're not focused on the story. All that money is going into graphics and stuff. Just you can reduce the amount of money that you put in for all of the special effects and just tell a good story. Then you'll get a bit bigger, bigger box office. You get more views.
The other concern that I have is that, and this is probably only for like my generation, your generation, you guys, that I don't like this new thing with these latest two movies where, like with Captain America: Brave New World and with what's the other one we just saw?
Thunderbolts.
Thunderbolts, thank you. They felt, and I know they weren't really, but they felt very short. It felt like a lot was left on the cutting room floor, like they were more determined to just get it over with. And I hope that isn't a thing that is going to be, how these movies play out going forward. I hope this is just kind of a one-off deal where it was just like those two movies. But I remember having the same thought coming out of both of those movies, that we were hitting all of these, plot points so quick, and then we got to the end, and it didn't feel as resolved. It just felt like, okay, we're done now. And that happened with Brave New World. It's like, okay, we beat up Hawk, and I'm like, okay, so now what's going to happen? But no, that was it. Okay, we beat up Red Hawk, and now the movie's over. And then with Thunderbolts, we all hugged. Now the movie's over. And I'm like, that's it? Like, honestly, it felt like when they were going through the Shadow Nightmare world, it felt like things were finally just starting to kick off. Oh, but no, that's actually the climax of the movie.
Yeah,
that was like
that's
the end point of the movie. And then they get out of there, they hug, and the movie's over. And I'm like, oh, it felt very short. And I hope that isn't how they're going to be doing these going forward. Just
See, that's what I was reading when I'm talking about the money. That movie cost $450 million to make. It's made $350 million.
Ooh,
and how long
Thunderbolts?
has it been out? Yeah, Thunderbolts. How long has it been out?
Oh, I didn't know it didn't do that well.
Yeah, it's flopping, and
Really?
which is kind of a shock because it really wasn't a bad movie. It doesn't deserve a flop.
No, it wasn't a bad
All the
one.
money they put into it, that's the problem. Because it's a good movie, but we're not going to see anything like it again because it flopped. Even though it flopped because they put too much money into it.
Honestly, if you haven't seen, those of you out there, if you guys haven't seen Thunderbolts yet, please go check it out. Yelena is, honestly, in my opinion, I think Yelena's actually a better Black Widow. I think she just does an incredible job. And Red Guardian is just hilarious.
Thunderbolts is a very entertaining movie.
Yes, it is a very entertaining movie. Like I said, it felt very abrupt, and I hope they don't continue that, but it's still a very good movie, and I did not know that it was doing poorly. I am a bad YouTube movie reviewer.
Well, and the main complaint I hear from most people, my friends of mine who don't go see these movies, is that, oh, that's all the side characters. I don't want to see anything from them. I don't care about them.
See, that's a bad argument too.
Yeah, it's
yeah. If you're not a comic book reader, you can't really blame them for that.
I guess.
Well, now, are you guys ready for some more rumors?
Ooh.
Oh, we got more.
Actual rumors, huh?
Actual rumors.
Okay, so you're about to run us down with some rumors.
I'm gonna rumor mill rundown, you guys. Run you down with these gosh darn rumors. Marvel's top choice for Ghost Rider is Ryan
Nicolas
Gosling.
Cage. Okay.
And
Say that
the
again?
only is Ryan Gosling.
Okay.
And the only obstacle is Star Wars Starfighter that he's starring in.
Okay.
They want him to be in Doomsday. So if they can align everything, he will be Ghost Rider in Doomsday. I
Yeah,
guess they needed more characters. But I like that casting.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that casting. I guess I'm so used to Nicolas Cage's chaotic style of acting that I can't imagine anyone else's Ghost Rider, but like that's not really how Ghost Rider is. So
Obviously, you didn't see Gabriel Luna's Robbie Ray as Ghost Rider in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., dog.
If
How
you
dare
had,
you.
I think I did. It's been a long time since I did not watch that entire show, but I did watch certain select episodes, especially, and this is another shameless plug. Back when we were doing the research for the Darkhold episode
that's
of our
right.
In Focus, I watched several episodes of Agents of Shield that contain the Darkhold, and I also went back and I got to watch Runaways.
Runaways was good.
That
I
was a
hope
good
they. I
show.
hope we get more
forgotten show.
Runaways.
That was a good show.
Yep.
Yeah, that was forgotten in all this.
Yeah.
And while we're talking casting, Todd Stashwick.
Don't know who that is.
Yep, I didn't either.
Okay.
But he is, according to Daniel RPK, he is going to play Paladin in Vision Quest.
Okay.
And it's nice. Paladin is a mercenary who does whatever for money. He'll be on the good side, he'll be on the bad side, he doesn't care. But according to the rumor, he is hunting Vision for his technology.
Okay.
So someone must be paying him to do so because he doesn't do anything on his own. So it'll be interesting, if true, to see who is bankrolling Paladin to get that technology.
Paladin, you say? Maybe it was one of the kids from Stand By Me. No, nobody. Too vague of a reference.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
never
yeah.
mind.
I haven't seen. I think I saw Stand By Me when it came out. I don't think I've seen it since. So I do not get that.
Yeah, me too.
They walk along the train track singing a theme song from a TV show from the 50s called Paladin.
Oh. Dave is our music guy.
And 80s
It's almost like a huge part of his life is being an artist and a musician.
Weird.
Crazy.
It's like he's in
Crazy
bands
stuff.
or something. And another rumor: the Champions, aka the Young Avengers, will reportedly assemble in Avengers Doomsday.
Sure,
That does
because we
make
didn't have
sense.
enough going on. Why the hell not?
I'd say an after credit scene.
How long is this movie supposed to be?
It's going to be 14 hours to fit.
My
all these
God,
characters
right?
and stuff.
Jesus.
But now,
Are we also going to have an entire subplot of going back and visiting Sylvie at her McDonald's?
I hope so. Oh my God, that would
Each
be
character
awesome.
gets one scene.
Yeah, it is going to be difficult to get too much out of this. It sounds like so much is wanting to be set up for Secret Wars and having these teams sort of assembled and stuff. But, for now, I'm going to trust the Russos. There's some people, supposed insiders, who are like, man, I see what the Russos are cooking and we are in for a treat. Hopefully they are accurate because we need that.
back in my day, they set up big crossover movies with individual movies leading up to it. I had an Iron Man, and they had a Thor, and they had a Cap, and they were the only ones in it.
Yeah.
Okay, Grandpa, go take your meds. Well, I'm telling you, they didn't have 800 people in one movie.
You don't get it.
Now next, more MCU goodness here.
Ooh,
We
okay.
have-
Still rumors or actual?
No, this is a behind-the-scenes shot.
Ooh, okay.
I'm putting my glasses down.
It is of Angela Del Toro in a homemade white tiger suit on the set of Daredevil Born Again Season 2.
Oh,
Not the
that's
best
what
photo.
okay.
But we are definitely getting this iteration of White Tiger in Daredevil season 2.
I am here.
Me
I am
too.
here for this.
I am hoping Daredevil kind of takes her under his wing a little bit and starts showing her the ropes a little bit. That would be awesome in my book.
Mm-hmm.
Well, judging from the first season and the writing there, all the rewrites were fantastic. But I don't know. I'm on shaky ground as far as seeing like everything I'm hearing. Like Kristen Ritter's on set, in the Defenders are all going to make an appearance, and now
Yeah.
this.
What's
How
his
much
name?
can they pack into the show?
So is this going to suffer from Star Wars TV shows syndrome where they think it can't stand on its own unless they bring us all of the recognizable characters?
It sounds like that could be the case because, like, Kristen Ritter has been confirmed. Obviously, we got White Tiger showing up. We got confirmation with a behind-the-scenes photo, and I can't remember his name. Mike Coulter, who played Luke Cage, and Finn, who played Danny Rand, are both in New York, where season 2 is filming. So
Wait, are they're really bringing back?
Ben Jones.
yeah, Finn Jones, that was his name. What did I call him? Finn.
You called him Finn.
Okay, good. I'm like
Ben. Yeah.
the no, those two have not been confirmed, but a lot of people noticed on their Instagram stories they were in New York, and Mike Coulter was commenting on Finn Jones. I almost called him Finn Wolfhard. Finn Jones's story about something, and people are like, "Oh, they're there for Daredevil." Oh, he was working out. Finn Jones had a workout video or something. He was showing off, and he commented something, and he was like, "Oh yeah, looking good. You're ready to go," or something. People are like, "They're in Daredevil season 2," but that has not been confirmed yet. Just fun little things that we like to talk about.
You know what? Okay. If he can get, we shouldn't blame the actors. It's not always their fault. If he gets proper direction, maybe he could pull it off. Maybe it'll actually be good.
Did you think he was great as Sir Loras?
I thought he was good as Sir Loras.
Wait, he was in Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that.
6 full seasons.
No kidding. Well, yeah, I guess he was fine. I don't remember, but all right. Yeah. So one of the things I was actually thinking about before was if you look at the differences between Electro as he's portrayed in Amazing Spider-Man 2, and then how he's portrayed in No Way Home. Technically the same character, but totally different way of going about it. And I think it boils down to the writing and the directing.
Yeah.
So
Definitely
I know
better in No Way Home.
maybe
yeah.
Finn Jones might actually do a good job if he just gets proper direction and I don't know, reads up on the character, and so he doesn't sound like an idiot.
Yeah. No, true. Directors and writing can go a long way, and he did not get that in his 2 seasons as Iron Fist or in Defenders. So we're hopeful.
All right. I will give him a chance. I'm telling you this here now. Doug, not your status quo. I will not hate on him just yet.
Okay, and then
But I swear to
finally,
God, if he ruins Iron Fist one more damn time,
yeah, then he's out.
On shaky ground.
We do have
you're on shaky ground, young man.
we do have a fan theory I read, which I kind of like, even though
Okay.
there's some problems with it. I love this fan theory.
Iron Fist dies.
No.
Oh.
Stan Lee is supposedly played Old Steve.
Oh,
And all of
yeah,
his
I saw that
cameos
damn
were
video.
checking in on a team throughout the years. The only
No.
problem I have with that, his character didn't act anything like Steve Rogers.
No, he appears as too many different characters.
Yeah.
So, like, think about where he's on the planet where Thor and Hawk are on. Warworld, whatever
No, it
whatever
was,
the world was.
Scar.
Where was the barber?
Yeah, that's not that is not Steve.
Yeah, I know.
Think about when he's on the planet with the other Watchers. That's not
From
Steve.
Guardians
That's,
Volume 2.
it's
Or
it's
when
a
he's
fun-
a DJ at a strip club?
yeah, there you go. So yeah, sure, it's kind of fun, but because I saw the same theory too, but no, it just doesn't add up.
Yeah, he just doesn't play Steve Rogers. But it would be kind of funny if they planned out something. If they would have planned out something of old
Yeah,
Steve
yeah.
checking in on everybody
Mm-hmm.
from time to time, that would have been fantastic. They would have they would have done the best job ever. But
Absolutely.
Yeah, you just say that as soon as I finish my drink.
But-
Drop in there.
we should probably find someone to raid.
We probably should.
And
It's a
for those of you watching tonight and wondering when are you going to talk about episodes 5 and 6 of Lazarus, we will be back next Sunday. We got a busy week this week with other things, so we'll be back next Sunday talking about 2 more episodes. So please make sure you join us. We would love to have you.
Hey, I was going to ask you, what are you calling it?
Lazarus,
Lazarus.
Lazarus,
Like
Yeah.
Toys R Us, but Lazarus.
Lazarus.
Yeah, like the Lazarus pits.
Okay.
Yep. I thought I heard. I'm like, nah, he's not. I'm mishearing him. All
So
right.
wait,
So
which
we
is
guys
right,
think,
Lazarus or Lazarus?
Lazarus.
Lazarus, but it sounded like you were putting a th at the end when you were pronouncing it.
I wasn't.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's what it
I was
sounded.
like- see, that's what I heard too. So that's why I
It
asked.
wasn't intentional.
Yeah.
Well, you son of a bitch. That's it. I'm out of here.
Get out.
Let's see. I see Bubble is on.
Ooh.
T-Pain is on.
Let's see. Yeah, we have 3. No. But Bubble is playing the Shivering Isles DLC from Oblivion.
Ooh. Oh, you wanna jump on that?
I do.
All right. In that case, for everybody out there that is wondering, what are you fellow nerds doing? What is this? What is this raiding thing? It sounds like some diabolical Viking pirate thing. No, we are about to take all of you lovely nerds that are hanging out here on Twitch, and we're going to take you over to another content creator also on Twitch, a friend of the channel, if you will. Now, we don't have anything that we can quite do like that on YouTube, so if you're watching us live on YouTube, or if you're watching us after the fact, obviously you're not, heading to another channel with us, but we would love it if you would if you would subscribe, if you haven't already, share with your friends, and of course, most important, join the conversation, get in the comments down below, and of course, we'll see you next Sunday, right here on Not Your Status Quo. Hey fellow nerds, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more of this stuff, make sure that you check out our Twitch stream. We try to do these live Sunday or Monday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Keep an eye on our social media to find out when you can join in live and chat with us during these live streams. Also, as usual, don't forget to check out our other social media. Add us at Twitter, comment down below, and we'll see you next time right here on Not Your Status Quo.